Good morning, everyone. This is Sir Joseph, and for today, I would like to explain to you how you will write your lab report for your laboratory experiment. So remember, in our subject, there are separate activities, or shall we call it experiments, that will be submitted. So that is scheduled every Tuesday or every Thursday for the other class. That's from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 p.m. So that is actually 3 hours. So supposedly you will be performing the experiments here in our laboratory, but unfortunately due to pandemic, you won't be able to come here in the lab and perform the activity. So an alternative will be I will be sending you videos of the experiments. So from there you will see how it is performed, and then you will answer the questions or gather data based on the video, and then at the end of each experiment you will submit your lab report. So this is how you will write it. So there are several parts of your lab report. So it should contain first the introduction, the materials and the methods, followed by the results and the discussion, and then lastly would be your conclusion. So let's describe each part of your report. So the first part will be your introduction. So ano ba yung introduction na yan? So just a short description of what is activity all about. So it can have one paragraph or you may have two. 1 to 2 paragraph is okay, it's fine already. So you can start by telling some important informations or facts about the topic, the experiment. So kunwari, ang experiment na yun or the activity is all about alkanes, so you will start by saying some facts about alkanes. Or kung meron naman doon ang topic ay about alcohols, then you start your introduction about alcohols. So you may search the internet on the information and facts about the topic. But then again, if you use the internet, hindi naman galing sa iyo yung idea, so you should state that in your references. Later on, you will see the format of the paper. So ito yung mga tips natin that should be answered in the introduction. The what is the activity all about, so the information and facts, factual informations, and then kung kailangan ng mga principles, theories involved, you can mention it in the introduction. Lastly, parang sa last 2 to 3 sentences ng introduction or a separate paragraph for that, you will mention the objectives of experiment. Yun. So susunod naman doon, after you have written the short introduction, so susulatin nyo ngayon yung materials and methods. Ganito lang kasimple yung methods and materials and methods ng lab report nyo. So di ba bibigyan ko kayo ng copy ng activity sheets, tapos nandun na yung mga materials nakalagay, nakalista. Tapos nandun na rin yung mga procedure ng mga method na gagawin nyo. So ang gagawin nyo na lang, based on the activity sheet, so i-describe nyo siya in a paragraph form. Mamaya, magbibigay tayo ng example. So enumerate all the chemicals and instrument used, so in a complete sentence. So alam ko naman marunong na kayo magsulat ng complete sentence, hindi Tagalog, but in English. So mention a specific method you use or technique you use in the activity and sure to describe. Nasa activity sheet na yan, so ang gagawin nyo lang is to state it or describe it in a short, simple paragraph. After nyan, so you will now present the result. So usually, mayroong data table na nakalagay dyan. So lalagyan din yun ng label, let's say table 1 or table 2 or table 3. Meron din naman dyan na activity na kailangan nyo mag-drawing. So, pag mag-drawing kayo, let's say a set of drawings, so lalagyan dyan figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. Yan. So, i-present nyo lang lahat yon with the proper labels, and then below that, yung discussion. Discussion that you will just describe ano man laman nun. O, di ba? Kung nag-drawing kayo ng structure ng hydrocarbon, ano yun? So, may mga set of questions naman na nandun. So, the answers to those questions, you just write it in a complete paragraph. Mamaya, ang kanta ng example. And then, keep it simple and comprehensive. Huwag niyong pahirapan sa inyo. And then, last part will be the conclusion. So, the conclusion natin, it can be 1 sentence, 2 sentences, or 3 sentences. So, wag masyadong mahaba. Usually, the conclusion is a statement that will show the accomplishment of your objectives. Kumbaga, nasagot ba yung objective ng activity? Nagawa mo ba? So, ilalagay mo yun sa conclusion. So, let's say, ang activity nyo is on measuring densities of different solid samples. Let's say, irregular and regular solid objects. So, gugamit tayo dyan ng mga technique how to measure the volume of. So, sabihin nyo lang doon. So, kunwari, this activity is aimed to enhance the skill in measuring the volume of regular and irregular solids, yung objective niya. So, dun sa conclusion part, so sabihin mo lang na the experiment followed a simple technique in measuring volume of regular and irregular solids. Period. Now, let's proceed with the example. Okay, so here is an example of a lab report. So the format will be shared in our MS Teams, so you can download it there for those who would like their lab report to be encoded. But of course, you can write your lab report. It can be written anyway. Okay, so we have here first part, of course, the title of the experiment here. The title of the experiment, so a day with alkenes. So here the experiment number 1, and then here you will have your names. You might notice that each name has its number in the upper script right corner. So 1, 2, 3. So that's example, you see 1 De La Cruz 1, Hazel Saturno 2, Gerald Anderson 3. And then below there, yun yung corresponding number would have member, bachelor course, and then anong college. Number 2, so Hazel, member siya with this course, at saka CBM siya. Tapos number 3, si Anderson, siya yung leader with this course. So this contains information about you, the students who wrote this lab report. And then lalagay nyo din dito kung kailan nyo sinubmit, date submitted, or the date you will upload it to our MS Teams. Then, i-note ko din doon, date receive ko din. Kung baka iba yung nilagay dyan, pero na-receive ko another date, so I will also do it. The first part, introduction. So, eto, kunwari, ang activity natin is with alkanes, so naglagay ako na ng introduction like, alkanes are a subgroup of hydrocarbons with only single bonds between carbon to carbon and carbon to hydrogen, and other informations were given. And then, sabi ko pa, next, sa second paragraph, I will be mentioning the objective of the activity. Sabi ko, in this activity, a series of real-life scenarios or situations were presented and followed by questions that will help us elicit the concepts, theories to explain the presented real-life experiences. This activity was conducted to have a better understanding on the properties, characteristics, and uses of alkanes. So, mapapansin nyo nag-past tense ako dun. Kasi nga, this is report. Ibig sabihin, tapos na yung activity. So, gagawa ka ngayon ng report. So, yung tense ng verb mo will be, of course, past tense. Yan, 2 paragraphs lang nilagay ko dyan. So, pwede nyo rin gawing isang paragraph. Okay, di ba? Ang short. Okay, so after writing the introduction, short and simple, so you will now proceed with writing the materials and methods section. So dito, in this paragraph, just enumerate the materials you use and describe the methods or procedure you applied in performing the experiment. So usually, itong materials and methods, ay nasa activity sheet na ibibigay sa inyo. Okay, nandun na yung mga materials na kakailanganin, nandun na yung mga procedures na gagawin nyo, na susundan nyo para magawa yung activity. So, ang gagawin nyo lang dito, isa-summarize nyo siya in a paragraph form. Paragraph form, hindi siya bulleted. So, in complete, clear sentences, you may have 2 to 3 paragraphs. Okay? So, for example, here, so, yung activity pa rin natin ng alkane. So, sinabi ko dito. So, in this experiment, information about alkanes found in the internet were utilized to answer the questions regarding its properties, characteristics, and uses. So, I mentioned there an article entitled Biogas Help Us Better Appreciate the Impact of Alternative Energy Resources for Cars and Other Machineries that is more environmentally friendly. Yan, 2 to 3 paragraphs. Ganyan ang naman. Let's say, meron ka na bang experiment na gumamit ka ng mga chemicals or mga lab apparatus. So, sasabihin mo naman dito, let's say, sa materials and methods pa rin, sabihin mo, in the conduct of this experiment, sodium bicarbonate, hydrochloric acid. So, you will see, I will just enumerating everything. So, hydrochloric acid, ethane, methane, sodium chloride were utilized. Lab apparatus, which includes the test tubes, vernier, glass beakers, pipettes, droppers, and digital analytical weigh scale were also used. Kung ganun lang, dun na yung materials. Tapos, sa methods, another paragraph, you will describe kung ano yung ginawa mo in short, clear sentences. So, let's say, activities about water, measuring volume of, yung sinabi ko kanina, measuring the volume of regular and irregular solids, yung mga stones natin, yung mga ganun. So, gumamit ka ng water displacement method. So, sabihin mo dyan, water displacement method was used to determine the volume of irregular samples. And then, the graduated cylinders was, yun na. So, paano ba yung water displacement method na yan? So, you will briefly describe how you did it. Ganun lang kasi. 2 sentences, 3 sentences, will do. So, pag dugtugtugin mo lang yan, that will form a paragraph, diba? So, after writing the materials and methods, you will proceed with the text. Now, we will have the results and discussion. So, dito naman sa results and discussion, minsan meron, i-present yung result ng activity nyo through a drawing. Or we call it a figure. Or, i-present nyo siya in a table form. So, let's start with the figure or drawing. So, dun kasi sa activity on alkanes, you will be asked to draw it. And then, there are series of questions. So, ang sabi dyan, i-draw nyo itong butane, pentane, and isopentane. So, you will have their line structures. So, yun yung drawing na yun nakalagay dito sa figure. Figures yun. Bahala na kayo kung paano yung format, pero ganito yung gagawin. Or you will draw it in a separate sheet. So, ililabel nyo lang siya as figure 1 with the same set. And then, there are series of questions that na kailangan yung sagutin. So, yung sagot nyo sa mga question na yon, isusulat nyo lang siya in a paragraph form. Let's say, ang question din is, draw the line structure of this compound, butane, pentane. What is common among these in their structure? What specific group do they belong? Yun. And why they are called saturated hydrocarbon. So, yung sagot nyo sa 4 na question ngayon, pag dugtugin nyo lang, and you will form a paragraph. Diba? So, you will say, an example here, you have butane, pentane, and isopentane are examples of alkanes with line structures presented in figure 1. Figure 1 that contains yung drawing na yung line structures ng mga compound na mention. And then, yung first question din is, what is common in their structure? So, nung dinrawing nyo, ano yung common doon? So, you were able to see that each compound has carbon and hydrogen. So, sasagutin niya siya ng Hydrogen and carbon are common in their structures, and they are generally called hydrocarbons. They specifically belong to alkane group, which are called saturated hydrocarbons because each carbon are bonded with maximum numbers of hydrogen. So yun. Those sentences in this paragraph answers a set of questions na nandun sa activity nyo. So ganun yun lang gagawin. Other forms of your result or data ng experiment can be presented in table form. Let's say like this. So, mayroong activity doon na gagawin nyo or papanoorin nyo will be the synthesis of ethene. Ethene is an example of an alkene. So, doon ipipresent sa nyo how it was synthesized or binuo from alcohol. Since nag-synthesize ka, so we need to confirm kung ethene nga ba yun. And then, there are series of testing to test the properties or characteristic of this compound, this organic compound, solubility and permeability. Simple test lang. Okay. So, yung result nun, present mo sa table. Kagaya nito sa ethene, permanganate test. Purple to colorless, solubility, miscible in water, flammability, flammable. Kung mayroon kang first table, so lilabel mo siya sa table 1. Kung mayroon ka pang next na table, table 2. Next na table, table 3. Ano? So, may isa lang, so table 1. Table pa lang. So, right after the table, you will discuss ano pang laman ng table. So, again, in complete sentence, so you start with, so ang title nun ay Test for Properties and Characteristics of Ethene. So, yun, table 1 presents the properties and characteristics of ethene. The permanganate test shows positive result, which is confirmed by the change in color from purple to colorless. And then, solubility test and flammability test results. So, sabihin mo lang dyan. Furthermore, the gathered data confirms that ethene is immiscible in water and it is completely flammable. Period. Tapos na. Simple as that will be the discussion of your results. Pero kung mayroon ka pang data na meron, so you will present it logically in your report. Once you already presented the result in the paragraph form, so you will write now your conclusion. Ito ng part na to ay super simple. One sentence is enough. Pero dapat yung sentence na yun is complete. Ano bang laman ng conclusion? This part of your report provide answers to the objectives of your experiment. So you may write it like, this simple activity with real-life scenarios helps us understand the properties and uses of package blah blah blah. Okay, so yung example natin kanina noon, say for example, dun sa measurement ng mga volumes ng regular and irregular solid. Sa objective pala, sabi niya, you will try to measure the volume of this regular and irregular solid. So, dun sa conclusion part, sabihin mo na the volumes of regular and irregular solids were measured using a technique known as water synthesis. Or kung meron ka naman, dun naman sa example natin on synthesis of ethene from an alcohol. So, sa objective nun, sabihin niya to synthesize the ethene from alcohol and to describe the properties and characteristics of ethene. Ganon yung objective. So, dun sa conclusion part, sabihin mo, so the synthesis of ethene from ethanol was successful and its identity, properties, and characteristics were confirmed using various confirmatory tests. Period. Tapos, so, tapos na. Ganon lang magsulat mo. So, sa last part, kasi itong lab report nyo can be done individually or with a group of 3. 3 lang. Hindi pwedeng mag-exceed. Pwedeng 2, pwedeng 1, hanggang 3. So, dun sa last part, nung sasubmit nyo, we'll describe in detail the contribution of each. Let's say 3 kayo. So, si Juan, si Hazel, si Gerald. So, yung 3 yun, gumawa ng report. So, sabihin mo, si Juan, siya yung nagsulat ng report, ng introduction, materials, and methods. Tapos si Hazel naman, siya yung nag-encode at nag-edit ng format. Yan. So si Gerald naman, sinulat niya yung report, pero specifically yung results and discussion and conclusion. Diba? Lahat yun, may isasulat nyo kung ano yung naging contribution ng bawat membro ng grupo nyo. Pero kung ikaw mas gusto mong mag-work na mag-isa, then you can do it alone. Do you need to write this one? Pag mag-isa ka lang, no need. Kung may kasama ka, yan, isulat mo dyan kung ano ang ambag niya. Okay, so dapat yung contribution ng member mo would lead to the accomplishment of your lab report. Okay? Clear tayo nun. And then, sabi ko nga kanina, if you use references para masulat yan, so you write it there. Use APA scan. Okay, so ganun lang kasimple magsulat ng lab report. You expect na gagawa kayo niyan ng at least 5 throughout the course. So, practice na rin ito sa inyo when you conduct your researches, and then you will be writing your introduction method and so on. Okay, so if you have questions pa to clarify how you will write your lab reports, so feel free to type your questions in our chat box under MS Teams, or you can post it in our FB group. Pero preferably sa MS Teams tayo maglagay ng questions. So that would be all. Thank you.